So this year, Centers for Spiritual Living is working with the theme of spirituality in action. And we find ourselves now in the 6th month of the year. Woohoo! And summertime. And the theme for the month, this month is, I got the talk title now, the theme went out of my head. I really do need your coffee. The theme for this month is protecting the vulnerable, and it is about empowerment. And the theme for today is translating heartbreak into action. And before we dive into that, what I'd really like to do with vim, vigor, velocity, vivaciousness, and all the other V's is let's go ahead and let us speak our mission statement out into the room and out into the world. So let's take a nice deep breath so that you can have a lot of power behind your voice. And here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Yes, we do. I want you to feel that resonate within you. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Feel that. Feel what that feels like. Feel it on a vibrational level. Got it? Breathe into it. Notice where it's resonating in your body. Feel what that feeling feels like. Is it tingly? Feel the little bits of it. What does it feel like? Does it have a movement to it? Is there a sound to it? This feeling that you're feeling in your body when you say this statement, when you affirm this statement, when you know that it is the truth of who we have come here to be as a community and what we have come here to do as a community. Feel what that feels like. Delicious? Yes. It helps us to focus our attention and our intention as we move through our day and as we move through our year and as we move out into the greater community and as we move into a deeper understanding of ourselves, of who we are and what individually and collectively we have come here to be and come here to do and how we have come here to show up and to show out. Delicious. Thank you for that indulgence this morning. I invite you to keep it at the forefront of your minds as you go through your week and through your month. When you're experiencing some challenges, perhaps, I invite you to come back to this and come back to the love lives here and come back to this idea over here and remind yourself of this community that you have chosen, that you have opted to be a part of, that you opt to contribute to, that you opt to share with yourself and with others. What a beautiful gift that is. So in thinking about today's topic of translating heartbreak into action, I was reminded of a story, a true story. In 1995, a young man, about 20 years old, was delivering pizzas in San Diego. And he was given an address to deliver a pizza to this address, and he pulled up to this address, and while the address was real, the apartment number was not. So he was knocking on doors, trying to find, who had ordered this pizza, and come to find out, nobody had ordered this pizza. And so he got back in his car with the intention of going back to the restaurant when he was approached by 4 young men, one 18-year-old and 3 14-year-olds. You see, it was them that had called for the pizza, but they didn't want to pay for it. They called for it with the intention of getting free food, of just taking the pizza from the pizza delivery guy. And when the pizza delivery guy decided, I'm not giving you this pizza, right? The 18-year-old gave a 9mm to one of the 14-year-olds and said, take care of it. And so the 14-year-old shot. And the bullet went right through the pizza delivery right through the side here, and shattered and exploded all of his internal organs. And he died within 2 minutes. All because of a pizza. The police department called his family, and his father answered the phone and was like, no, you can't be telling me the truth. This can't be right. No. And so he hung up the phone and he called his son. 1995, remember, there's no cell phone. So he calls the son, or there's cell phones, but not like today. So he calls the son, and the son's girlfriend answers, and the son's girlfriend is crying, just sobbing. And the father realizes, no, this is true. And his knees buckle and he falls to the floor. And he's sobbing, and he describes it as having an out-of-body experience. And when he comes back into himself, he very clearly hears and is very clearly aware that there are two victims here. His son, of course, and the 14-year-old who shot him. And from that moment on, in the midst of deep heartbreak, he allowed that deep heartbreak, he allowed that incident, he allowed his own consciousness and his own realization to then guide him forward into action. And so what did this gentleman do? He created a foundation in his son's honor. A foundation that to this day, 24, almost 25 years later, continues to go out into schools in the San Diego County and all around the country, teaching accountability, teaching compassion, teaching empathy, and teaching nonviolence. But he didn't do this by himself. You see, 9 months after his son was killed and the perpetrator was behind bars, he reached out to the young man's grandfather. And they came together, both as men of faith and as parents and grandparents, recognizing that one son was lost forever and the other son was lost to the adult prison system. Because this young man was the first young man right after the age limit had been reduced to 14. He was the youngest person to ever be tried as an adult in the state of California. And he received 25 to life in prison at the age of 14. What Azim Khamisa did is he took the tragedy, he took the heartbreak, he took the trauma of the experience, and he went into his prayer closet, if you will. He went to his meditation cushion. He is a practicing Sufi Muslim who meditates 2 hours every day. He went and he took it there, and he surrendered. And he found a place of forgiveness. He found a place of realization that he, as an American citizen, and that we as a society had failed Tony Hicks. That Tony Hicks At the age of 11, joined a gang because he thought that that was the only option that he had at the time. In spite of living with a wonderful grandfather who was doing everything that he could to lift him and to raise him, he had already been influenced by the society around him. And so on that fateful night, in the span of just a few seconds, lives were changed. Tariq Khamisa's came to an end, but yet his legacy continues to live on through the Tariq Khamisa Foundation, run by his father, Azim Khamisa, and Tony Hicks's grandfather, Pels Felix. So these two gentlemen came together in cooperation and in forgiveness and in seeing one another and in seeing a larger societal problem, if you will. And they came together in a commitment to end this type of violence, because what they found and what they know is that violence is taught. So if violence is taught, then nonviolence is also taught, can also be taught. So they've gone out to these schools, and they're teaching young people how to speak to each other nonviolently, how to interact nonviolently, how to be empowered, how to live their highest potential, if you will. You see, the foundation is kind of living out our mission as well. They're doing the work that we're doing. And they're doing it on a deep, profound level. And when these two men came together, what they realized is one of the other things that they had in common was they both meditate. Pels Felix is a Southern Baptist. Azim Khamisa is a Sufi Muslim. And what they found is they both meditate. They found common ground in their tragedy and in their pain. And they have taken the tragedy and the pain and they've transformed it into being able to take action out into the world. Because what they've also done is they've also taken responsibility. Because they've each taken responsibility not only for their own actions, but also for their own feelings, for their own ideas, for their own beliefs, for their own patterns. And they've taken responsibility for how, as Americans, we participate in the society at large. And what they've done then is they've channeled the responsibility, they've channeled the compassion, and they've channeled the empathy into creating a world that they wish to experience, into creating a world in which they wish to live in, into taking action, tangible action, to change lives. So 5 years after the incident, Azim tells the story of going and actually meeting Tony at Folsom Prison. And he goes in and he says, I went in with the intention, and we sat there, and I went in with the intention of seeing a murderer, of seeing the man who killed my son. And I looked in Tony's eyes, and I looked in his eyes, and I couldn't find the murderer. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find him. What I saw when I looked in Tony's eyes and Tony looked in my eyes was the spark of the divine. The same spark, the same light, the same love. I saw in him myself. And at that point, forgiveness for Azim was able to forgive completely and move forward in a greater way in the work that he and Pels are doing. So ever since then, Azim and Pels have been working, but Azim and his family have been working together to advocate for parole for Tony. And last November 23 years into his sentence, the young man is now no longer a young man. He's now 39 years old. The parole board put forth his parole, that yes, they said yes to his parole, and now it's simply waiting for Governor Newsom's signature. And so Tony will be out this year. And Tony will be employed by the Tariq Khamisa Foundation to be able to go out and do this work in the world with Azim and with Pels. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And it's wonderful that it's amazing, and it's sad that it's amazing at the same time. And why is it sad that it's amazing? I feel it's sad that it's amazing because this could be normal. The fact that we have the ability to forgive, the fact that we have the ability to love, the fact that we have the ability to see past appearances, the fact that we have the ability to take responsibility for our own lives, to be accountable for our own actions, our own thoughts, our own ideas, and our own beliefs. We have the ability to do that. And yet, frequently we get caught in the blame-shame game, don't we? And where does it get us when we're caught in the blame-shame? Does that move us forward? Is that evolutionary? Is it transforming lives? Is it emboldening people to live their highest potential? When we get caught in our own blame and shame, when we get caught and mixed up in the pointing of fingers, it's not about excusing the act. Whenever we experience heartbreak or we experience tragedy, it's not about excusing the act. But in that moment, we can allow that moment to define us, or we can define ourselves as a result. And we have the opportunity to continue to work with this and allow ourselves the opportunity for growth. Because when we experience heartbreak, or when we experience something, really what we have the opportunity to do is we have the opportunity to grow in whole new ways. We have an opportunity to explore depths of our soul in ways that we had never been able to explore them before. We have an opportunity to look and see a larger picture. We have an opportunity to look and see for a new solution, to solve a problem, to resolve something, and to evolve. Because where we are at on the evolutionary cycle is we are at a place where evolution is conscious. We are at a place of conscious evolution. We have the choice to continue to evolve, to continue to get more complex, to continue to solve problems, or we have the opportunity, we have the ability to choose not to. But it is an opportunity for us to choose consciousness, to choose evolution, to choose to grow. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not always easy. Nobody promised you it would be easy, right? But it is an opportunity, because when we have these growth opportunities, when we have these challenges, it pushes the boundaries of our imagination. It pushes our ability to be creative. It calls for a creativity. It calls for an evolution of consciousness. It calls for an evolution of thought. It calls for moving beyond what is, moving beyond the status quo. If everybody was happy, happy, joy, joy all the time, we'd be like the Stepford Wives, right? There's no evolution happening. There's no growth happening if everything is always pleasant, if everything's always a joy. Everything comes to pass, including joy, but including sorrow. And part of why we come together in community is we come together to be able to experience and amplify our joys, And we also come together in community to be able to share and lighten the load of our burdens and our sorrows. And that's the benefit and the beauty of coming together in community, because it does both. So if there is something heavy on your heart this day, I invite you to just begin to possibly think about the tiniest glimmer of the idea that a heart breaking open is an opportunity for pent-up energy to move. And that being broken open is also an opportunity for the light and the love to come in. And so if there is something that is present with you this day, I do invite you to please take advantage of seeing Ed or Constance or another practitioner after service and receive prayer. That is what they are here for. Allow them to see the truth through you and for you and as you. We have the opportunity when we are confronted to be transformed if we will allow it. We have the opportunity when we experience heartbreak to have the light shine in and shine through if we but allow it. Azim says that sometimes in that deepest sorrow, that is where he found the most clarity. So there's an opportunity here. If we say yes to it, if we're willing to open even the slightest little bit, open and allow the transformation to take place. So I want to share with you a couple of things from Tariq Khamisa. At age 18, when he was a senior in high school, he had an assignment that he had to do, come up with 6 or 7 aphorisms that he chooses to live his life by. And so here are his. Hang in there when the odds are against you. Live by the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Respect others, they'll respect you. Give life your best effort. Use your time wisely. It's all right to be disappointed, but a winner can never allow himself to be discouraged. Living by giving, and one is nothing without scars. Scars are proof of living. Wise young man, wise beyond his years. And so our own Ernest Holmes shares with us this. Here we may meet difficulties, uncertainties, and doubts, barriers walling our passage, but we must not be discouraged when we are so confronted. We must climb over the rocks of unbelief, pass around the barriers of doubt, and plunge into the stream with faith. The stream will ever widen. The barriers will gradually disappear. That we walk through the plains and the valleys of indecision and doubt, the stream will still carry us back to the ocean of our being. And so I invite you to breathe that in. Feel what you are feeling. Notice where you are feeling it in your body. Notice its movement. Notice its sound. And allow it to wash through. Azim Khamisa says, sustained goodwill creates friendship. Sustained friendship creates trust. Sustained trust creates empathy. Sustained empathy creates compassion. And sustained compassion creates peace. And so this is the work that is ours to do this day. Starts with goodwill, culminates in peace. Peace be with you. And so it is. So I invite our practitioners and our core council to please stand and surround the sanctuary. So these beloveds are available for prayer immediately following service. So I invite you to avail yourselves of their services. They're available for prayer. So let's just come together in consciousness today, shall we? So I recognize that there is one power, one infinite, eternal being, this one I choose to call the divine, spirit, love, life, the one life eternal. And in the beginning it was, and it always is, and it always shall be. And in the beginning it was all that it was all that it is. For truly there is only this one. The divine is all that there is. Love is all that there is. There is no other, there is no thing that could ever stand opposed to it. For truly there is only this one life, this one presence, this one power. And recognizing that there is only this one, I recognize that the who of who I am is one with it. That I am the divine emanation and impartation of this one life. That this one life lives, moves, breathes, and has its being in, through, and as this vessel. In, through, and as me. In, through, and as all of creation. Because all of creation is the body of the divine. All of creation is the manifestation of the divine. All of creation is the expression of the divine. Each and every human being, each and every life form, sentient, non-sentient, all of creation is this one, and so that I am one with it. And so I speak my word here and now for our beloved community, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Recognizing that each one here, too, is the power and the presence of that one life. Each one is the love that is back of all of creation. Each one is the love made manifest. And so I know that each one lives their highest potential, allowing themselves to be transformed by the power of this infinite and eternal love. And I know that each one shows up daily as the power and the presence of this love in their lives. That as they go forth in their daily life, their daily work, that it is love that meets love, it is life that meets life, it is joy that meets joy, and it is peace that meets peace. That each one truly recognizes and realizes and understands that there is only one, that there is no other, that there is no separation. So each person that we encounter is the power and the presence of the divine, is the divine made manifest as that same spark of life, that same spark of light that resides within us, resides within the person standing in front of us, resides in the people on TV, resides in our leaders, the world leaders. Each is the divine made manifest. And so it is an opportunity then for us to remember this, to remember, to reaffirm the divinity and sanctity of life. And in so doing, we deny any ideas that could stand opposed to that. Because there is no idea that could really, truly stand opposed to it. There's only one power, and that power is life, and that power is love. And so anything unlike it simply falls back into the nothingness from which it came. Any idea of discord, any idea of separation, any idea of otherness, I simply let it fall back and release it now. could have no sway because it has no power. And so I give thanks for the beauty and the oneness that is all life. I give thanks for the work of the Tariq Khamisa Foundation, for the deep work of forgiveness of Azim Khamisa and his family, for the deep willingness of Pels Felix and Tony Hicks to stand in power, to stand in the presence of love, and to be the love radiating out, sharing it and inspiring others with their story. I give thanks for the forgiveness. I give thanks for the transformation, and I give thanks for the peace that already is. And I release this word into the law, knowing that it is done. I let it be, and so it is.